All right, I think it's recording. So, hey guys. So for chapter 5, I decided to do a little switcheroony. I decided that I found a lot of formats and themes that I liked for Google Slides. So I'm going to try that today. I am presenting on Google Slides and recording on Zoom. So hopefully this will all work out. So chapter 5, as we all know by now, is about assessment fairness. So, what exactly is that? When I was reading the text, I saw the definition, or that it could not be defined or no single meaning on Papa 125 or 124. And I was just very baffled. I was like, what? Like, how do we have a whole chapter and there's no solid definition? So, as I continued reading, I did eventually understand that basically it's like just making sure that all of your students have equal access and ability to do the test, that it's fair for them. It's not just a general, everyone's going to be tested at the median level. It's assessments are not one size fits all, to sum it up, to so I can move on to my next point. Um, so I went out looking and I found a really good definition that I liked from the International Bureau of Education, and it's listed here: the consideration of learners' needs and characteristics and any reasonable adjustments that need to be applied to account them. So, why is assessment fairness important? It's important so that students have the ability to demonstrate their knowledge in a way that is equal across the board. Your assessment handout does not need to be the same in order to get equal put out. Like, if if that makes any sense at all. You don't have to put in the same exact format to get the same results from all the students. For example, or I'll move on to my example page, or no, I won't. Let me slow down. Take a breath. Fairness is important, like I said, so that students can demonstrate their knowledge fair across the board. So, um, if I gave myself, or okay, in the voice threads, there was a little spelling test and it was in German. I do not know German, so that was unfair to me. And thinking I was being assessed on how to spell in German, even though German is not my native language, that would be hard and unfair. So let's apply that to an actual classroom. What are some examples of biased assessments? So throughout this whole chapter, I put myself in the headspace of a ESL teacher, or English as a second language. I just thought that was the most accessible and understandable for all of us, because if I'm correct, every public school or public district has to have an ESL program. So let's say in my ESL program at my school, I decide that I'm going to give my students a vocabulary test weekly in English. They're going to have English words and get tested on it weekly. So for this incorrect example right here, I have a student who's missed Monday through Thursday because they were out with strep throat. Would I test them when they came back on Friday with the rest of the class? No, that would be unfair to them because they did not have the same time to learn as the other students. So on the green side, I fixed this by giving my student their vocabulary words and all of the materials that we used in class the first day that they get back. And then they have 4 days to make up or to learn. And then on the fourth day, um, they will have the same assessment that their peers did, because then it is equal for them. They have the same amount of time to learn, the same opportunity to show their understanding. I have so many examples, so I hope y'all don't mind me rambling a little bit. So, another example as a language teacher is if I have students and the three main languages in class are Spanish, Mandarin, and German. Just follow me. Those are the ones in my class for some reason. Do I know where I live? No, but those are the main ones. So let's say I'm assessing or I'm working with these students at the end of the year and we're taking our ICT Aspire test. Since I'm in the ESL, obviously I'm going to have access to the languages that I need to assess these students. Do I give them all English tests? No. That doesn't make sense because it's not in their native language. So they won't have the same opportunity to score as well and to demonstrate their knowledge because they aren't as well versed in the English language as they are in their native language. So to make it better, I just give them all a Spanish test, Because I mean, we have some Spanish speakers in there. So that should be fine, right? No, now it's not fair to the German and the Mandarin students because it's not in their native language. So, how do I fix this mistake? I give them all, crazy idea, I give them all a test in their native language so that they can show their skills the best they can from the knowledge they have. It's not a crazy example, but it really puts it in this perspective. So, another example I have, this one's not related to language, but it follows the track of cultural sensitivity in the classroom. Have you ever had to do a genealogy report? Like just the track back as far as you can in your family history project. For most Black students, they cannot go past 4, 5, maybe 6 generations because of slavery. I'm not telling you to stop assigning this, but some students are uncomfortable doing this if you do not address the historical culture and event that happened where most Black people in America do not know their original last name. Because, fun fact, if you didn't know, Black people get their last name from their slave owners. Not getting political or anything, that's just in genealogy reports. Some Black students cannot track back as far as other students in their class, and it's not the best feeling. So, another example is I cannot remember who mentioned it, but someone said something about summer vacations. So, if you're having your students write about summer vacation when they get back, some students aren't able to afford that. So, it'd be biased to ask them, hey, write about what you had or what you did for a summer vacation. These students will either have to lie about what they did or where they went, or they would feel guilty or possibly inferior to their other classmates because they could not afford to go on a summer vacation. So that's a socioeconomic sensitivity thing in the classroom. And then for religious sensitivity, one thing I thought about that's always kind of stuck out like a sore thumb to me is Christmas break. Obviously, we have it because we need breaks in the school year, but calling it Christmas break or when you get back from, I call it winter break personally, when you get back from winter break and you ask your students, oh, what did you get for Christmas? What are you going to do for the Muslim kids who don't celebrate Christmas? What about the Jewish children who do not celebrate Christmas also? It's just very awkward for them having to assume this identity that's not theirs. So it's not necessarily rude, but it's just biased towards them because, once again, it does not apply to them. So those were the examples that I had for some bias assessments or even just activities or sayings in a classroom. So, how will I work to be anti biased in my classroom and in my assessment forms? Well, first and foremost, I will work continuously to educate myself, firstly, and also work with my students to let them know about the diversity in the classroom and affirm them that it is okay to ask questions. It is okay to be your true authentic identity in the classroom. You don't have to assume this. And I'm sorry, this is um, it's what most people use, but you don't have to whitewash yourself coming into my classroom. It is November 1st, and I have some students come in traditional Hispanic face painting for Dia de los Muertos. I'm not going to punish them. I'm going to ask them probably to share a story in their class or tell them about the holiday. I am not going to make my students feel bad about that. I'm going to celebrate different diverse holidays. Like it was just Lunar New Year's last Friday, if I'm right. Like there's so many opportunities to talk about diversity in your classroom to let your students know that it's the world isn't just cookie cutter one size fits all. It's really not. That's the best thing that I found for this chapter. Assessments in your classroom environment should not be one size fits all. Um, so, outside of making sure that I address different cultural identities and cultural holidays and celebrating like Black History Month, Hispanic History Month, and Asian Heritage Month, I will also work with students one on one or as closely as I possibly can to figure out the best method of assessment for them. One way is if I have a student who cannot see, they might have to do auto audio testing. Like they may have to listen to the material and tell me or write it down, and that's assessment for them. So I think that answers the questions for this week. I feel pretty confident in that. So now for my resources, of course, I used Pop'em at the beginning of the presentation, and then I also used the International Bureau of Education. So thank y'all so much for watching and following along with my rambling. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm here to talk. And stay safe and warm in the snow. And also, happy Black History Month. Uh, Thank y'all so much. Bye.